Now, you also are doing something quite interesting this coming year.
I am.
What are you doing?
I'm going to university in the UK at Oxford.
Alright, at Oxford, alright. That's
Oxford, yeah.
pretty different. I know many students would love to study there, but often look at doing it as postgraduate. So you're doing an undergraduate degree there. What will you be studying?
It's called PPE, Philosophy, Politics and Economics.
Alright, excellent. And what's the process that you go through to, actually getting accepted?
It's actually quite similar to using the UAC system. You basically, they have something called UCAS, which is their version of UAC. You log on, I think you get 5 preferences, but you can put as many, you don't have to put 1 first, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, you get 5 at one time. You pick a course, you write what's called a personal statement, which is basically an essay about why you want to do the course you want to do.
And how long does a personal statement have to be?
Probably about 1 A4 page. It's not...
So not very long?
Not very long. You get a teacher, also they have to write a 1-page thing about you and...
It's like a character reference?
A character reference, yeah. And then depending on the university, you may have to do an interview. For Oxford and Cambridge, you have to do an interview, which you can do over Skype, or you can actually go over to England, which is what I did.
Excuse for a holiday?
Yeah, casual holiday after schoolies, it's nice.
Yeah.
And then otherwise in other universities, you don't have to interview, you just put in your preferences and see what happens.
Alright, excellent. Now I have a couple of questions that came out of just that sort of explanation. The first is, when do you have to actually apply to put into your preferences for the UK universities?
Oxford and Cambridge is by the 15th of October, and I think some subjects, I think medicine, maybe vet science, a couple of subjects are also 15th of October, but pretty much every other university, every other course, 15th of January.
Alright, excellent. So for some you've got a fair bit earlier, but really the similar time to when you're putting in your
Yeah, it's pretty similar, but you can do it after when you know what your marks are, so if you did better than you expected, you can always have a crack.
Yeah, okay, great. Now, the other question I had was beyond simply, finding what you wanted to study, you had to write that, personal statement. What did you write in there? I mean, it had to be about why you want to study the course? Or?
Yeah, well, for me it was about, for Oxford and Cambridge in particular, they want you because of what course you want to study rather than as a whole round person what you are. So I had to talk about my interests in philosophy, politics, economics, what books I'd read, what extracurricular activities I'd done, what I found interesting. Also had to talk a little bit about, outside of school activities, leadership positions, all of that, but predominantly it's academic focused.
Alright, and basically just connecting what you have done and your interest in a particular course.
Demonstrating that I do have an interest in the course, I'm not just putting it down for the sake of it, and that I've acted upon that interest.
And that sounds like an awful lot to put in 1 A4 page.
It is. It took about a month of sort of writes and rewrites, but if you really want to do the right course and you really are interested in it, you can squeeze it all in there.
And so did you get help for writing your personal statement, or was that something you just spent a lot of time on in your own time?
A bit of both. I mostly did it by myself, but you can go on the internet and there are a lot of people, particularly in England, who put up their personal statements if they've been successful.
So you can use it as a guide?
As a model, yeah. Also, because I was also applying to American universities, so I also sort of used a bit of what I was using in those essays in that one as well.
Excellent. And the American universities, you have to do another test, is that right, to qualify there?
Yeah, you have to do your SATs or your ACTs.
Okay, excellent. And you decided to go to Oxford instead of pursuing...
I did. Well, I did all my exams and I had my application ready to go, but I found out that I got into Oxford before I had to finish my American stuff.
Fair enough. Why not?
Take Oxford, I think.
That's it. Yeah. Now, the final step in that whole process was an interview. So you had to fly over for the interview. What was the interview like, and what sort of questions were they asking you?
They're very intense. Oxford and Cambridge interviews are renowned for being quite sort of intense. They're very subject orientated, so it's not sort of, why do you want to come to Oxford? It's more, for example, my philosophy interview, I was asked, how do you know you're in Oxford right now? I don't know what I said, but it's very intense.
So you need to have a good subject knowledge, because they're essentially questioning you on that.
Exactly, that's because they want to find people who are the best at their subject. They're not fussed if you weren't head girl, if you didn't play for New South Wales in soccer. They want someone who loves their subject and who's good at it.
So they're not really looking for then all-rounded individuals, they're really looking for people that excel at the one particular thing.
At Oxford and Cambridge, that's what we want. If you want to go to London or somewhere, you might want to be a bit more rounded, but Oxford and Cambridge, it's just academic.
Yeah, okay. Alright, excellent. Well look, congratulations, it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun and a very interesting experience.
It will be.